there is so much work that goes behind the scenes. I know that because I do organize conferences as well. But thank you so much for everything you do. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Deepi. Yeah.
Thank you. Bye.
Yeah, so we have another well-known speaker. I think she's doing a lot of events um, in the community. So I mean, really appreciate the thing. And no matter what happens, whenever I saw her title, I want to hear the first or second speaker because her sessions are always innovative, something new. I always do for that. And I think I'm in touch with Shrishti more than 5 years, and we do a lot of events together. And I would say, first thing, Happy Women's Day, Shrishti. And I hope you, with other women speakers in this particular session, are doing. I mean, you see the session from from the first tip. I really appreciate, and I was touched my heart also. I think a lot of things with that. So I think I'm happy that you are the one of the most famous speakers. I think in our community events, right? So the floor is all yours, and then I already started recording, and then you can share a screen, please.
Let me just share my screen and then probably I'll put some words to
Yeah,
what you just mentioned.
yeah.
Let me know once my screen is visible. Is it visible now?
Not yet.
Okay.
Are you using the desktop app of Teams?
Just a second. Looks like my system, as usual,
Okay.
is
Yeah.
out of control. Just give me a moment.
No issue. No issue.
Something happened. I'm able to share my PPT, but my PPT is okay. Let me go back. Oh, looks like there was some glitch. I'll share again.
Okay. Sure. Sure.
Don't I have rights to share?
Yes, you have right. So I make a presenter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let me join in back. Probably looks
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
glitch
Yeah.
in
Sure.
Teams.
Sure. Yeah. You can rejoin. Yeah.
Just let
Hi,
me check.
Srishti. Yes,
Hi,
I
Aro.
make you
Let
presenter again.
again. Yeah, share my screen and let me know. I think it should be visible now. There was some
Yeah.
glitch.
Yeah. Yeah. I can see
Okay.
now. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. So thank you so much, Aro. I've been just like what you mentioned. So with Aro, Dhruvin, Abhinav, and the extended team who organizes from the behind the scenes for the late tech community, I have been part of this for the last 4 or 5 years, and I have been speaking on I think every Women's Day event, and apart from this, the other events as well. So really appreciate the efforts the team puts in for all the community attendees just to bring in new flavors of AI, Power Platform, M365, so that everyone stays up to date with what is going on in tech. So really, really appreciate that. Thank you to the whole organizing team, and happy Women's Day to all the amazing women who are speaking. But before I, start my slides, as today we are celebrating International Women's Day, so let's just not celebrate it for a day or for a week or for a month. Let's make it a habit of empowering everyone around you every single day. Provide them the necessary support, and also at we have passed through the times wherein we have seen COVID, where people were at home, they were depressed, they had a lot of stressful, they had to go through a lot of stress. So we have come across those phases as well. So let's just support and honor each one's abilities and capabilities. Let's not pinpoint or judge anyone. Maybe this through this platform, I would want to just bring up that idea that let's support and uplift not just women but everyone around you if possible, and ensure to celebrate the this day, not just today but every day. Okay, so with this, today I have just tried my part to share some bits on Copilot Studio, but as usual, I was wondering what unique flavor should I add so that people who are attending it over weekend, they get this takeaway, so that they can just take it up and they can use it wherever they want, or they can upskill and they can just go with a smile that hey, I learned something new. So this is my bit of a part which I am just giving it to you all. What I've done is I've put it up a interesting use case, which is how you can leverage the legal case study. For example, in the legal domain, we deal with a lot of contracts, right? And it's not just about legal domain. Contracts are ideally legal because these are bound to some authorized faculties based on each country, right? So these legal contract review process I wanted to automate, but I wanted to give a flavor of Copilot Studio. And how can we do that in Copilot Studio? By building the custom agent right inside the Copilot Studio, and this will be an autonomous agent. I'll come to it probably. Right now, the words, the jargons, some of you might be new, some of who are attending, they might already know what I'm talking about, but don't worry at all. I'm going to pick the overview after the introduction for this topic, and then you can join the dots. So before I move ahead to my session, myself Shrishti Shah, and I've been working with Rapid Circle, and I'm also a Microsoft MVP in business applications and Microsoft 365 apps and services. Okay, interesting bit. What is in it for you? Even if I would attend any session or webinar, I would always look out for, hey, what is in it for me? Is it a value? Is it something which is adding value for me? If not, then that's good. I am just getting new learning, new takeaways. So just to bring all the ingredients on the plate, today I'm going to speak about how you can leverage Copilot Studio. Probably what you can do with Copilot Studio, but uh, that is just an overview. Probably for of now, whoever is working in Power Platform or Copilot Studio, they might be aware about what Copilot Studio is, what you can do in that. But what are the different kind of agents you can build? When I call agents, those are called as copilots as well. So copilot slash agents. So whenever I say agents, you can consider copilots, but those are custom copilots. Now, when we call it custom copilots, what all it can do? It can perform tasks, it can run autonomously, or it is just a chatbot, right? So these are the three different flavors which Copilot Studio offers in terms of what you can build with Copilot Studio. And how you can extend this, you can just publish it either in your website or in your Teams or WhatsApp channels, anywhere. But to build this, what all you will need? One, you need AI Hub, which is a part of your Power Platform. I'll speak to AI. I'll speak on AI Hub just in few minutes, and Copilot Studio license to build Copilot. If you don't have this, you also get a free trial. You can try it out in your demo environments. That free trial lasts for 30 days. You can leverage that. You can build case studies or POCs. Ensure that you don't create anything which is production ready, because in the demo environments, we ideally build only things for POCs. You are not allowed to publish it on production. So now that you're aware what is in it for you, so let's just go ahead and take a quick look at Copilots and agents ecosystem. I will just give you a quick overview. As usual, I have just very minimal slides and everything is on demo right inside the studio and in Power Platform AI Hub. Before we go there, it's important to understand the fundamentals. So when I say co-pilots and agents in Microsoft ecosystem, you would have been hearing this quite a lot. Hey, this is Copilot, this is Agent. There are different varieties of Copilots which Microsoft offers. So, what are we dealing with? Where exactly we are in for this scenario? So, to quickly give you that idea, as you can see, Copilot Studio is a platform, right? Copilot Studio is a SaaS tool which is built on top of Power Platform. It is another tool just like Power Apps, Power Automate. Copilot Studio is also a tool in Power Platform. Now, when I say Copilot Studio, what you can do is you can build custom agents. Not just build, you can extend. Extension means you can publish this in your WhatsApp, in your Teams, in websites, all of those things. And you can also manage. Managing means you provide access to few users, you provide the visibility, you also look into the monitoring and insights. So all those extensibility and management, you can do it in Copilot Studio. But what we are talking about is AI, right? Where is AI flavor to my Copilot Studio? So Copilot Studio is already built on top of a model. That model is called as GPT model. So by far, if someone is very new to this ecosystem or to the AI world, I would quickly summarize. So there are different kind of models which are already available in your Azure, and those Azure OpenAI models are like GPT, GPT 4.5, GPT 4o, and the recent latest one is GPT 4.5. And there are different models provided by different entities like Hugging Face, Meta, all those are also there. But our Copilot Studio is leveraging Azure OpenAI Model 4. Okay, and we have two variants, small and large, those two variants. You can't go and configure this. This is done by the platform team. They've already provided this to you, and you can leverage and you can build. And hence the underlying layer which you can see is it is underlining using our Azure AI Foundry portal, which is having those models. And if you want to extend or if you want to leverage the so whatever we are going to do in Copilot Studio, all those are the branches of bot framework. So those, because this is also a bot which which can have conversation, which adds in AI layer, all of those things. Hence the bot service channels are also the underlying layer. And agent SDK, as mentioned, we are building an agent, so underneath there will be an SDK. Right now we are working on low code, no code, but the platform is high code, pro code, right? So all of those things are handled by platform itself. And there are other Azure Cognitive AI services, which I just spoke about, AI Hub, the different models which are part of Power Platform. You can leverage those, and also the connectors which are part of Power Platform. So now I think you should be clear on, when I say Copilot Studio, it's not just agents. It's underlining layer is quite depth in terms of extensibility with connectors, with AI models, and bot framework capabilities. Now, where can you extend this? So as you can see, the agents which you have built or the custom agents which you have built, this can be extended through different channels. But let's say I have some data which is residing in third party. Can I also integrate that? Definitely, you can integrate that as well with your agents. Also, you can extend it with your M365, with your biz apps like like sales or service Copilot, and in Power Apps and Power Automate, you also have Copilot features, and two other Copilots. So this is the extensibility and this is the integration, and the underlying layer is how your platform is built on. So this covers your Copilot Studio. Coming to the next slide, what you can do inside Copilot Studio. So we can build variety of agents. Now, those variety has to be categorized, right? You can't build agent for like different kind of agent. They must be falling into some category. So the three categories which you can build in the Copilot Studio is retrieval, task, and autonomous. So when you say retrieval, for example, consider your Google, right? What you do is you go to the Google, you type in just I want to know what is Power Apps, right? You just type in Power Apps and you get the information into your in the crawled information in your website, right? So that is retrieval, but that is searching followed by index and crawling. That is not AI retrieval. What Copilot does is you provide any information or any website, either it can be files or website or SharePoint site or any of your third-party integration services like SAP, Salesforce, or all of those where your data resides. You give that as a knowledge to a Copilot, and it will do its job. It will provide you the responses from that particular knowledge which it has. This is called as retrieval. This is the one type of agent which you can build. Task is basically, okay, I have an agent, but my agent should follow some steps. Those steps are like, for example, I want my agent to send a note in my Teams whenever a new employee joins. And probably this agent is for your onboarding, right? What it will do is whenever a new employee joins, it will take that employee name, take that object ID, it will add it to the channel, whatever is your organization channel or team. It will provide you the access. It will take all of those things. All those actions which your agent is doing is performing a task in itself. Hence, this is another type of agent which just performs some task. Another category is autonomous agent. In tasks, for example, you might need human inference. For example, this is the employee name. You add it to that employee. You send this Teams note to some of the channel. These are the human inferences which you are providing. While for the autonomous agents, whole from the start to the end of the cycle, when the agent runs, it will be autonomous. And to make it run it that way, we need autonomous triggers. How it will do is definitely it's going to run based on some events, which is there might be an email which you can receive, there might be some update in your task in the data hours or in the SharePoint. Based on all the events, it can just perform autonomously, and it can perform the tasks underneath, and then your agent is completely done. It it never takes human inputs. It will run autonomously by orchestration, which will provide. So today I'm going to briefly talk about autonomous agents. How is the architecture of autonomous agents, what all it needs to make it work, and then what is the use case for today, like what we have built. So these are the agents. Based on your use case or your case study, you can build either retrieval one or task one or autonomous one. Okay, now we know the different type of agents which we can build. Let's just quickly look at the autonomy of your agent. So as you can see, these are the different agents in the rightmost side, and this is the UX, wherein what you do is we provide top knowledge. As I mentioned, if you want to retrieve from some of the website or some of the third-party enterprise applications, you provide knowledge. You have different integrations, like you can add actions, triggers, workflows, all of those things. And also you can also add your own PDF files for your AI to learn those things. And whole orchestration is happening through the orchestrator, while the underlying model, it is using the platform Copilot model GPT-4o, and whatever users converse with, that is the UX, which is the agent. So this is the autonomy of your agent. Coming to the next ingredient, now we know that okay, this is the Copilot Studio. These are the different kind of agents which I can build. But if I want to build the agent which I have for my use case, for example, I want to get into the contract. I want to review whether the contract is right or wrong, or it is missing something. How can I do that? How can I add that AI flavor to it? For that, we'll be using AI prompt. Now, better I will skip this slide. Is just for your reference. Maybe you can take it later. I'll just go to the my demo and we'll show it to you. But this is how the AI prompt looks like. This is the interface wherein you can draft your own custom prompt. You can use the model, the selection. You can make it from here. The inputs you can take it. Either that input can be from a user or that input is residing in dataverse. You can take that and you can quickly test it in the window how well your prompt behaves. This is what AI prompt is. Let's just go ahead and check that in action. Okay, some issue with my okay. Let me go to my Copilot Studio. Okay. So as you can see, I am into my Copilot Studio. This is how you will see it. But before we go to the Copilot Studio, let's just go and check around AI Hub. Okay, let me just refresh that. So what exactly AI Hub is by the time this loads? In AI Hub, previously, there are two different categories. One is AI models and there is the AI prompts. So AI models, this is where all the models reside in terms of document processing, form processing, business card reader, or extracting something from your text, or language understanding. All of those models reside into your AI models. While whatever you do with your text, for example, summarize the text, and that text can be any input which you provide, or pick those information from the text. Maybe you have a lengthy text and you want to pick, please provide me the employee name, the date of birth, or all of those things. You can pick it up from the text. So this falls under AI prompts. You should go to your Power Apps portal, and in that you need to go to your AI Hub. This is the AI Hub. In the AI Hub, there are two different categories. One is the pre-built AI prompts and the other is custom prompts. So when I go to the prompts, you'll see that these are the popular templates, and you can see all the templates. It's not mandatory that you always have your custom scenario, right? It can also be something which you can do it via out of the box prompts, which are pre-built prompts. So what all it does is, for example, sentiment analysis, classification of text, identifying the text types. So just something similar for let's just go ahead and generate an email. What this do is it will already provide you a prompt. I want you to act as an assistant. I'll provide you with a short text and you generate an email for me. And as soon as I open this in prompt builder, it will have this information and it will generate, but this will generate based on the text which you provide. So if you see in the input section, this is the variable which is created because this will be dynamic. The text can be anything, while the intention of the prompt is to generate a email, HTML templated email. This is the sample data, and as soon as I hit test prompt, you should see how the results. So did you see what it did? Based on just an instruction that hey, you are supposed to act as an assistant and I'll provide you some short text. Based on that, generate an email, and this email should be in HTML format. Now it did its job, but how it did, that is important to understand. So if you go to the settings, you'll be able to see we are leveraging AI, Azure OpenAI models. Currently, my this prompt, out of the box prompt, is using GPT-4o mini model. But if you want to deal with something which is related to images or documents, you should use GPT-4o. Right now it was text, hence GPT-4o minimum is fine. GPT-4o and 4o minimum and GPT-4o, the only difference here is one, the different type of inputs. One is just accepting text while the other accepts images and documents. The other is the number of tokens. So whatever you are passing here as input, those limitations on the number of tokens in input, those two also varies. Apart from that, there are different settings. So temperature. Temperature means how accurate you want your AI to respond back with, and record retrieval. So the number of record retrieved from your knowledge, these two settings you can make. And do you want to include links in the response? So as soon as I hit this and as soon as I save, it will also provide you with the citations from where it was able to generate if you are providing some data, right? So these are the settings which you can make. And we are going to use something similar for our use case. This is the AI custom prompt. Now what we saw is just the default prompt. And if you can see, there are different varieties of default prompt which Microsoft is already providing. And some of the default prompt might already suffice a requirement. But let's say I have a custom requirement, and that custom requirement looks like, now let me just plug into my use case. So this is my contract, okay? And this contract is the correctly drafted contract. So for example, every contract has a template, right, which government or which governmental bodies provide. So one such contract, that contract should hold detailed information about the financial data, the product design, the marketing strategies. Only then you'll be able to understand whether this contract is good or not. So this was a template which was provided, and what I have been doing is I am passing this as a source of truth, saying my prompt, saying in a prompt that, hey, this is the original and correct draft. And now whatever user provides you, for example, a ex user who is working in the legal domain, he just shares that this is the contract which is ready from my end. Please verify and review it. And this has been sent to the legal domain. Now, how will this be modified? In the earlier days till today, the person reviews the whole contract. He or she has to go through the each line, and they have to add comments, and then this file has to be shared again to that team with the comments saying that, hey, these are the pointers, please improvise and provide it me again. With the help of AI, what I'm doing is I'm creating a custom AI prompt. Now, what that custom AI prompt does is it takes this correctly drafted contract, right? And I am writing a prompt saying that review this correctly drafted contract and take the input which user is providing, the contract which he is providing, he or she is providing, and look at it, look at the discrepancies, and highlight those discrepancies, whatever is missing, and send this detailed feedback to the user. So now this reviewing layer is been eradicated. So still human will be needed, but at least for the review purpose, just to identify whether the contract has everything or not, this can be done by AI. And if you want to add a human layer, we can also add because whenever AI generates or AI performs any action, we add an approval layer so that the human who is going to approve or disapprove at the end, they are aware of what AI is generated. And then, after the approval, you can share it with the person who has sent it for the review. So let me go to my case now, and I will go inside my AI and I'll show you the custom prompt. So this is my custom prompt. And what I am doing is, if you see, the custom prompt is so elaborative, right? Here I'm saying, please review the provided legal document. This will be sent by XYZ person to the legal domain, saying that this is the contract which we have worked on, and please review it whether everything is right or wrong. And I'm just putting that I also have a correctly drafted contract. This is the template of the correctly drafted contract, as you can see the below one. And I'm asking that ensure the purpose section should have this, the confidential information section should have all of those things. All the different sections in the contract, purpose, confidential data, obligations, should hold these details and verify it. What I've done is I've also added a sample data. So let me just pick a sample data. So I have one incorrect legal contract just to validate. And what I'll do is copy this, paste it in my sample data, and I'll test this. And I should receive a response. Now, let me just zoom this a bit. What I've received here is, okay, based on what I have shared, issues which are listed. One, purpose section is stated as this, which is appropriate. However, it could be more specific to align with the intent and purpose. Contract should hold the document through the intention. So the intention was missing. For the confidential information, this section was missing altogether in my contract. While obligations, there were a few misalignments, exclusions from confidential information, something is noted down here. Term section, return of material section, all of these issues are noted down, and also summaries provided at the end. The provided contract is missing several critical sections, and the details are present in the template. What could I have done is, I could have also added, provide me the overall sentiment after this is completed. With that sentiment, I would have gone ahead with the approval. For example, if the sentiment was bad, then I would have just shared directly with the end user, saying that, hey, there are a lot of things missing. Please improvise it based on the comments, which is, AI has provided. If the sentiment would have been positive, then I would have directly shared it with the approver who is going to approve it, and they would have looked into the AI and also looked into the AI response and also the contract which was shared, and then based on that they would have made minor modifications or the decisions. This is where AI helps you out. Your AI is helping just the human as a co-pilot. I'll again emphasize this: co-pilot means it is not taking away your job, it is assisting you with some more detailed insights. So this is what AI Hub is. Now, how did I club this thing into my co-pilot? You would be wondering. Let's just go and take a look at my scenario in depth. So what I'll be doing is, I have one email which I've received. This is my email. Let me just go to the email. Yeah, this is my email which I have sent, and I am asking the legal team to look into my contract which I've drafted and let me know if there are any issues or discrepancies in this. Now, this is my agent. This is my AI agent. This is the autonomous AI agent example, wherein now we have looked into AI Hub, and now we are going to see how we are going to integrate that into the Copilot Studio. So to integrate, we created a custom agent, just my legal advisor custom agent, and this will be invoked with some event, right? As I mentioned, autonomous agents need some event triggers. What I did is I put that event as when an email receives. So this is my event. Let me just add a trigger. You will be only able to add triggers if you have enabled this orchestration as on. And I'll come to it in some time later. What do you mean by orchestration? Once you add a trigger, so let's just quickly see what you have to do to add a trigger. Add a trigger and just elaborate what your trigger is, and you will be able to find when an email is received. So in my use case, I'm doing it through email. I'll check when an email arrives in my mailbox, and this mailbox can also be the legal domain mailbox. Let it create the connections. So this is similar to what we ideally do in Power Automate and Power Apps. We also need access to these tools. Only then you'll be able to make connection. Once the connections are in, you will also see another connection while I am using email, but it's also taking one more connection of Copilot Studio. Why? That is because we are integrating this into the Copilot Studio, and hence it needs not just your mailbox, but also your Copilot integration. What it provides is these are the properties which it needs. Most of them are optional, but where this email would be received, in whose mailbox, you should provide that here. Once that is done, I'm not filtering it out anything on subject filter right from this. I'm doing everything from instructions. So I'll come to that instructions in a bit. And once you are done with putting the information, you will see an additional property, instructions to the agent when it's invoked. So what this does is, it is adding another layer to our normal connectors. Meaning, whenever this will be triggered, when an email arrives will be triggered, the output of this action, how, what do you want from the output, and how will it be used. So what we instruction we're passing is use content from body, because my contracts are going to reside in the body. Given that if you would have added attachment, the attachments would have worked. But I believe right now this is in preview stage, so attachments is not working well with this autonomous agent scenario. The token limit is exceeding, hence attachments were not working. And I have raised this ticket with Microsoft, but in instructions we are working with body for now. As soon as you are done, you create a trigger and it's done. Behind the scenes, these triggers are nothing but your Power Automate flows. So go and just edit it, and you'll be seeing that Power Automate flow. And this Power Automate flow is nothing but when an email arrives and sending the information which you added in the instruction back to your Copilot. So this is the simple Power Automate flow which it is leveraging. Okay. Now I'm done with my trigger. But important aspect, I have to take the email body, I have to invoke this AI custom prompt which I have built. How will I do all of those things, and how will I integrate this AI into my Copilot? For that, you have to go to the actions. So actions in itself holds all the connectors. As soon as you click on add action, you'll be able to see all the connectors of your Power Platform along with the AI custom prompts which I've created. So now I will just search by, what is my name? Okay, let me just search. It is searching and it should be there. So see, this is the AI prompt which I've created, which is saved. This in itself is acting as a connector for me now. As you can see, this is a description. These are the inputs and outputs. Once you hit on add action, the action will be added. I'm not going to duplicate this because I've already added one. Let's just go and see. In the action, now two important points to remember. Autonomous agents work on instructions and actions or topics. Actions in itself are a topic, which which are the topics of a PowerShell agent, if anyone is aware, or if someone is new to it. Actions are nothing but the APIs which are wrapped in the form of connectors. So these, each action holds some input and passes out some output. And important key information here is the action name, the display name. The display name of the action is something what your action is doing. So my action is reading the attached file or attached body from the email to find a discrepancy from the contracts. These are the actions. So whenever, even if you want to chat in the test window, how will this action be invoked? Only if this intent matches to the action name. Only then it will be invoked. Right now we are doing everything autonomous, so that invocation part is handled through instructions, which we'll see. But if in case you want to use actions as topics, then the invocation will be done with the intent of your name of the action. Okay, so that it will be able to trigger correctly. Inputs, as you see, I had one input in my AI hub, which is attached legal contract, and how I am feeling this input needs value, right? So that my other further steps are handled. This will be filled dynamically, or you want to set some static value? No. Why would I put a static value? Because I want this to be dynamically taken from the email. Hence, this is dynamically done. And how will this get the value? Through the instructions. So this covers our action. Next, what I'm doing is, once I receive the response from the AI, so just like what we saw, we receive the outcome. I want to send this email, the feedback which is provided by AI, to that particular user who has sent out, right? I want to do that. For that, I'm leveraging send an email action. And in send an email, using the connector again, All the inputs are dynamic, nothing is static here. Two details, subject of the email, the body of the email, from, all these are dynamically taken. Nothing is static. And the outputs. Now, this covers the whole scenario. Prerequisites. We have AI Hub, we have actions, we have triggers. Now, how will this work? How we club all of these things together. This is the beauty of autonomous agents, wherein you have to do everything thing from the instructions. So now, what I am doing here is, how will this be invoked? I am asking my autonomous agent to follow this instruction strictly. When a new email arrives, check the subject. I'm not filtering in the connector itself. I'm checking it from the instruction if it contains this value. If it contains only, then proceed with the following steps. After I get the email, I also need to get the body. The same thing, whatever you are doing in natural language, I'm saying the same thing, because here there is no code. Here, natural language is your code. So fetch the email body. Once it is done, invoke the action, the AI Hub action. Once that is done, pass the email body which you have fetched from the step 2 as an input to my AI custom prompt input. Now you know how we are weaving this together. Next, once that is done, I'm fetching the details from the email body again, which is received, and getting the values like to, from, subject, all of those things. Now I'm invoking my action, send an email again, and I'm automatically filling all the details which are received from above. Also, if you observe, I'm using the templated email, which I have said that this is the template, and replace all the issues with the detail which you have found, and the recipient name, to name, everything. So this is what it means by orchestration. So until and unless you enable that orchestration, your autonomous agent will never allow you to add triggers. Now let's see it in action. To make this work, let's just cancel this first. I need to test, right? So how will I test this? I will test it right from the test window. I'll start testing. So now you have to see, this got triggered when an email arrives. And we'll just see it here, that how it is able to receive or not. So let's just wait. It is taking some time to invoke. By the time any queries, any questions anyone have, we can take that up. Okay, there was some
Shruti,
error.
this
Yes.
is Ardo here. I just want to get insights that for the Copilot Studio, right? Can we do a trial? I mean, the trial version is available to test it out. Maybe if somebody have no access to Copilot Studio, how they can test the scenario which you're sharing?
So anyone, as I mentioned, if you want to work on any Power Platform capabilities like Power Apps, Power Automate, AI features, or Copilot Studio, there is a trial version available. All you need to do is go to Copilot Studio, search by Copilot Studio, and I also have the link aka.ms Copilot Studio. This is the Copilot Studio link, aka.ms/Copilot Studio. And if you don't have license at all, you can hit try free. This provides you 30 days license for free. So
Awesome,
from here,
awesome. Thanks.
you can
Yeah.
leverage the Copilot and its AI capabilities. So now whatever I'm doing here is, thank you for asking this question, because I completely missed one feature, which is generative AI. So whatever we are doing here in the Copilot Studio, that orchestration enablement, everything is happening through this generative AI enablement. If you don't have this enabled, you might not be able to make that work. But this feature, I'm not sure whether this is needed for autonomous agent or not, but this feature has to be enabled to leverage generative AI retrieval, probably not for autonomous agents. But this is what is the AI layer added to the Copilot Studio platform.
Okay. Okay. Thanks for sharing.
But given that I don't know why my agent did not work right now, if it would have run, because I've just tested it yesterday, it would have provided the detailed insights like this. In the templated email which we have sent, looks like some email has the lot of data and the token got expired. So this is how the email would look like, the templated version, if my Copilot would have ran. But I think the context and the crux you all have understood. Probably demo gods are not with me today, so just forgive that. given that right now the important thing here to understand is autonomous, how we are making it run autonomously. While such scenarios, I can just quickly show one action which have been run. So whatever we are running, right, all the autonomous agents, how will you keep a track of it? So to keep a track of it, you need to go and check it to your activity tab, and you'll be able to see. Just a second, let me go down to my runs. Is my run, you will find all the runs here, and I'm not able to see my previous runs. Something is missed, but yeah, I could have taken the screenshot. All the activities, you can find it here, just like the one which we just invoked. So yeah, this is the one. As you can see, the upper layers send an email. The reading from my connector was done, and it was able to send out an email with the details autonomously filled in. So this is how you can view the activity as well of your autonomous agents run, so that my inbox can have multiple emails, but whether the instructions are followed correctly or not, that is based on the activities which you can evaluate. As behind the scenes, each trigger, as I mentioned, is Power Automate flow. You can also look into the triggers as well from the Power Automate flow side. So this covers the scenario in end to end, but the important details, which I'll quickly again reiterate. Let me just go to my slides. I have made a note of it explicitly for everyone. The autonomous triggers. These are the key ingredients for your autonomous agents to run. The triggers, wherein using which agents can automatically respond. And these are the events, right? It responds to the signals across your business or initiation tasks. And this can be configured based on your any of the service. It can be Office 365 Outlook, it can be your SharePoint list or Dataverse, or any of the things. And you can also schedule it. So these can also run at a scheduled interval as any of the Power Automate triggers. And as you can see, which I've already elaborated, you can add your triggers, any of the triggers which are available, and all the connectors are same as your Power Platform because it is built on top of the connectors which we have in Power Platform. So these are the many triggers. Once this is done, the dynamic plans. This is where the instructions come into the picture. You have to write a detailed natural language, in detailed natural language, what instructions your autonomous agent should follow. And before you do that, you also need to understand the actions which you're going to leverage. Just like I used AI Hub or custom AI prompt and sending out an email, these two actions. You also need to be aware of what all you're using, what all inputs it will take, or what output do you need, and all those configurations you can make from the actions itself, and how this inputs will be received. Either it will be dynamic or static, because at times some values can be static, like your organization details, which is not going to change every day, right? Those can stay static, but the inputs which are going to be dynamic in nature, you can just take it. How will you take that? And that orchestration will happen through instructions. So these are the actions which you can see in the activity demonstrated in the GIF. And the activity overview, which we just saw. There is a detailed activity tab only for autonomous agents, wherein you can see if there were any issues. If there are any, it will be raised up automatically in the chat that this information is missing, or just like we saw the error, my email content was too lengthy and it wasn't able to handle that. Probably I can just test it again once it is done. And this is how all your runs will look like. All the completed runs, the in progress ones, and some which has error, it will be marked in exclamation mark. So this covers your autonomous agent. To quickly summarize the autonomous agents, it automates long running processes. It dynamically reasons over its capabilities. As we already saw, all the dynamic inputs, it was able to put it in the box using the instructions, and it learns and improves. So here you can also add your own knowledge, and you can ask AI to use that knowledge and pass it back to the information and in the inputs wherever needed. And it follows human guardrails and asks for help. For example, if some input is missing, it will populate in the chat that, hey, this is missing. If you are testing it, then you will be able to see it. But if this is published in any of the teams or somewhere, it will not, just it will fail, and it will not ask end user to provide that information because you're running it autonomously. And orchestration, as I mentioned, it will also orchestrate whole steps, including actions and instructions, and then it works dynamically. So this covers our demo for today. And as I mentioned, Aro did mention that if anyone wants to try it out, they can try it out from aka.ms/try Copilot Studio. You can just go ahead and try it out from there. And you can build retrieval agents task agents. So because we still have some time in hand, I can quickly go to my agent, and if I would need retrieval example, right, what would I have done is the same thing which I'm doing through autonomous thing. I also created one layer wherein you can use or create a task based agent. I created a topic called advisor. In the topic it will be invoked, based on some intent. When user needs advice on legal contract review, I am just sending out a message. I'm asking the user to send or attach a file. And then taking that file, I am calling out my connector. So this connector you see is our out of the box connector, which is my OneDrive connector. I'm saving that file and then picking up the file again, passing it to my AI prompt which I have created, taking the output and then sending the user the message. So if you want a conversational approach, you can have that as well. If you want a dynamic autonomous approach, you can have that as well. So this is what example which I have showed is part of task agent. Now retrieval is basically on your knowledge. This knowledge can be any knowledge, either it from can be from your public websites or SharePoint or Dataverse. Now take an example of Copilot Studio knowledge. Let's say Copilot Studio learn documentation, and this is my whole route, right? I can pick this up, I can copy this, I can take into my agent saying that this is my public website. I'm adding that link, the name, the description. I'll just hit enter. And it is adding the knowledge for me. So what I am doing is I'm grounding my agent with my own data which I want right now. Just because I don't have data was tables in created for me out of the custom tables. But if you have Dataverse tables, as I mentioned here, there are different kind of knowledge which you can leverage from Dataverse, SharePoint, public websites, and also from your search, SQL, custom connectors built on top of graph connectors, ServiceNow, Salesforce, all these are available, while there are a few more which are still coming up. So you can be patient, and you'll sometime soon see the Azure DevOps Wiki and all of these coming in as knowledge as well. For of now, you can leverage something from AI, search from your ServiceNow, and other from your Dataverse sites. So let's just quickly see that in action, retrieval. So this is my knowledge which I've put it in. Now I can just go and ask on anything, right? But ensure that you have this topic, conversational boosting, because how are we getting this information? We are getting this from generative AI, which is turned on, right? I quickly go in again. This is my generative AI. This is enabled. I am fine. Now I can go back to my agent. This is the conversational boosting. What it does is here the trigger is unknown intent. So whatever I type in, it will take that as a query and it will pass it to the generative answer node. This generative answer node is an action or a connector which is adding the AI flavor to my Copilot Studio. How you can add that? You can go to the add button, advanced, and then you can see generative answers. What input it needs, whatever you type in, that input it will take. And where do you want that answers to be relayed from my data. So I'll just say, okay, you don't have to use your own data, you get the data from this knowledge which I provided, and disable the AI knowledge. I don't want AI to use its own knowledge, no. And whatever responses are received, do you want to send that as a message? I will say yes, send that. But there are two variants. One is text. Oops, just a second. There is the text message and there is the complete response which we receive. So the complete response holds, as I mentioned, this is just the JSON, the connector. The complete response will hold the full object, which holds the text, the citation sources, everything. But right now we only want to use text, whatever information we have. So this is how retrieval happens. So let's just quickly delete this and use the out of the box one. Once the message is received, we are checking whether do we really have the information which is fetched from the knowledge or we don't have the information. If yes, then show that information to the user. If no, then because this is the system topic, you don't have any fallback option and it will fall back to the other topic fallback option. So let's just quickly go and test what is Copilot Studio. And as you can see, In the activity map, I have enabled it. So you will be able to see from where it is able to get that information from the knowledge which I have provided. And this is what retrieval is. Given that this information doesn't look very appealing to the end user, I would have given the instructions to look it more appealing, stating that highlight the key information, put it in the bullet format, and fetch the important citations or some important information in bold text or italics, whatever. And you see the citations. If I go to the citation, it will go to the exact learn document. Because we provided just the root of Copilot Studio, it can go in any of the pages inside it and fetch the information. If I would ask, help me with the details on culture of India. What do you think? Will this provide the information or not? Let's see. See, because the information doesn't have this, the knowledge doesn't have the information. We are not getting that information at all. But I was able to get the information. How? Now here is the thing. I disabled it from my topic, but I did not disable the AI generated knowledge from my Copilot. This AI is enabled. My agent is free to use the AI knowledge which is provided. Hence, the knowledge did not have that information which you saw in the activity map, but because this was enabled at the root, at the main level, I was able to get the AI. Let's just AI generated response. Let's just disable this and check the retrieval again. Let's wait for it to load so that it don't cache the information. And we'll ask, I want to get a license for Copilot. Probably we'll ask something negative so that it doesn't fetch the information. So let's just ask the same thing. Help me with the information on India and the king of fruit. Just a random question. Let's see whether it is able to answer or not. What we are testing here is we are grounding it on our data, and we don't want our agent to respond anything apart from our data. So see, this is handled. Now what happens is at times while we put something in the query which is not acceptable for our agent, probably there are some restrictions or compliance issues, how you can handle that responsible AI and content filtering. So you can do that from the custom Copilot Studio as well. In the properties, you can see the content moderation. You can customize that content moderation to high level, so that whatever input query you're passing and whatever output AI is getting back, AI is returning back, you always have that customization moderation layer high, so that you don't receive anything which is unintended for the use case. So these are the configurations. These same configurations you can do it in Foundry portal as well. Exact same thing you can do it in Copilot Studio. The only thing here is you can't choose which version or which model you want your custom agent to be built on, because Copilot Studio as a platform is built on a model category or a model layer, so that you don't have that configuration liability. But in Foundry you have that. So because this is a debatable point of pro code and low code, it is up to you to choose where do you want, what do you want to use, and how do you want to use it for which case studies. So this covers all the different type of agents. One is retrieval, which we just saw based on the knowledge. The task, wherein you can go ahead and leverage the topic, build topic and add the connectors, and then you can have a conversational flow. Other autonomous agents, wherein human has to do nothing. This once this autonomous agent is published, it will wait for the events. Whenever it will receive, it will perform the instructions and the actions which were needed for it, and then it will do its job. It will run autonomously. So 3 different agents. I'm sure you have you would have taken a lot from this session, and probably you use it wisely in your case studies. And if there are any issues or any concerns, you can always refer to the documentation provided by Microsoft. It is a wide documentation wherein you find the details, all the nitty-gritties of the 3 different type of agents which we can create. if there are no more questions, then probably I can stop sharing. And thank you so much once again for listening so patiently. And please go ahead and try Copilot Studio and build some interesting use cases, and not interesting one, then POCs for yourself and upskill to Copilot Studio.
Thank you, Shruti. It's really appreciate that on the Women's Day sharing this with just not women. I think there are a lot of people who are male here in the audience as well. But I think something which is the most important thing is to upskill from the Microsoft stack of technologies. And I also learned from you and other speakers. So thank you so much for your time and effort for this. Again, wish you International Women's Day as well.
Thank you so much, everyone, including you, Aro, Dhruvin, Rajendra, Abhinav. Thanks a lot for putting this up together. And thank you so much for having me. Hope this was, you had some good learning takeaways from this session.
Yes, obviously. Thank you. Thank you for this time and effort. Thank you.
And all these speakers, all the women speakers, happy Women's Day to you all. Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the event.